Hello, everybody. All right. Welcome to the Mikestand. Today is, of course, Monday, February 16th, 2026. Of course, today is the day that, of course, most of the nation is observing President's Day. So hopefully everybody's enjoyed the day off today, holiday for some, particularly for those attending school. Of course, we're going to give people a chance to come in before we get started. A friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. I'm going to go out camera here for a quick moment before just for a quick moment here. I'll be right back. I'll put music on. All right, I'm back. Anyways, today we're just waiting for people to show up. Um, Today, of course, we had a chance to watch, the cartoons that came out in November of 1945. One of which was The Friendly Ghost, which was the first cartoon to feature Casper, initially as part of the Novel Toon series, but eventually he would get his own series in 1950. Um, let's see. Anyway, so now we are coming up on 3 minutes here, so I guess I'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. Um, got one article I'm going to go over. Apparently, it's coming up an anniversary of sorts for a co-authored, co-created comic of Batman and Judge Dredd. So we're going to be looking at that article from Bleeding Fool. We'll also, of course, be getting all caught up on all that happened over the weekend here in terms of the world of pro wrestling. Of course, TNA had its No Surrender pay per view on Friday. Then WWE had it. As WWE continues to build towards Elimination Chamber next weekend. Will be, of course, we'll be looking at what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, as well as looking ahead to tonight's Raw. We'll also be looking at AEW's Grand Slam Australia. It had some, had some stuff going on there. And another big announcement in regards to AEW and some recent talent. So with all that, and then of course after all that, we'll wrap things up with this day in each history, and then so with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. And again, friendly reminder, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's get into this. So Batman Judge Dredd, Judgment on Gotham gets anniversary edition. Article by John Pallister, published today. Judgment on Gotham Anniversary Edition, Simon Bisley, John Wagner, and Alan Grant. Rebellion is proud to announce the Batman Judge Dredd Judgment on Gotham Anniversary Edition. One of the best-selling Judge Dredd comics of all time, this new edition of the critically acclaimed and award-winning Judgment on Gotham by John Wagner, in parentheses here, A History of Violence, Alan Grant, Detective Comics, and Simon Bisley, Lobo, brings a classic back into print in a way it's never been seen before. Due for publication for the UK in May, this new edition of the original Batman Judge Dredd crossover will not only be reprinted in a larger format than ever before, but will use brand new scans of the original printing film from 1992. Carefully restored by Rebellion's experienced reprographics teams to present Bisley's groundbreaking, fully painted artwork in a glorious new light. Batman Judge Dredd Judgment on Gotham Anniversary Edition promises to be a stunning showcase of one of the 1990s most iconic comic crossovers. There's some of the artwork there. Originally published in 1991, Judgment on Gotham pitted the ultimate lawman against the Dark Knight detective, with Judge Dredd and his psychic colleague, Judge Anderson, forced to team up with Batman after the undead archfiend, Judge Death, escapes from Mega City 1 to Gotham City, alongside Scarecrow, wreaks havoc from murdering the masses to headlining a rock concert. Quite a mix there, huh? Quite a mix. You're going around murdering the masses, but you're also headlining a rock concert. It was not only the first time these two legendary characters had come together on the page, but was also the moment that Bisley became an international comic superstar, fresh from his work on Slain for 2000 AD. Now, 2000 AD is a comic magazine that's published by Fleetway. Actually, has been published by Fleetway from like 1977 all the way up, I think, until 2020. So, one of the longest running comics in the world, as I understand it. And we know this because we've featured it a few times on the This Day in Each History segment. So, his intense and anarchic, fully painted and art fitted perfectly with Wagner and Grant's explosive story, filled with iconic moments that delighted fans of both characters and spawned a further 3 crossover stories. Judgment on Gotham was the winner of the Penguin Books Award for Best Graphic Novel and UK Comic Art Award for Best Original Graphic Novel, as well as a nominee for the Eisner Award for Best Graphic Album. New and also saw Bisley win Best Artist Eisner Award and UK Comic Art Award in 1992. Bisley went on to work on the widely popular Lobo, while Grant wrote an acclaimed run on Batman, and Wagner set about redefining his groundbreaking character, Judge Dredd, in the pages of Judge Dredd magazine in 2000 AD. Available only for the UK market, this brand new 64-page oversized edition of Judgment on Gotham will give both new readers and fans of the original the unparalleled opportunity to see Wagner, Grant, and Bisley's energy and vision with fresh eyes. Batman Judge Dredd Judgment on Gotham Anniversary Edition will be published on 6th of May and will be available from all good book and comic book stores in the UK, as well as from 2000 AD web shop at 2000ad.com. Alrighty then. Well, there we go with that one. So that was the. Hey, Netsuri. Thanks for dropping in. I need to go off camera here for a moment again. I'll be right back. I'll put some music on while I'm gone. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Anyways, let me see if that story went a little bit quicker than I thought it would. So maybe I will try to see if there's anything more we can find to read here. Might have been something that might have popped up in the time since I showed this article this morning. La 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 la. Well, we do have some anime news here. Found an anime article. There's a manga article here as well. So I guess we'll go ahead and do these then. All right, 17 minutes. All right, let's get into this. Prime Video says, in small quotes, Ghost in the Shell, Fist of the North Star lead Amazon's plan to become the preferred destination for anime. As the Japanese anime industry becomes more and more of a global enterprise with each passing year, an ever growing amount of Western companies have been trying to get in on the Weibo game, from Netflix to Sony to even Disney. Um, but rather than being just one of many, Amazon Prime is apparently shooting to become the global hub of anime streaming. I'll be right back. Need to go off camera here for a moment again. And I'm back. Let's get back to the article here. This bold proclamation towards Amazon's anime future was delivered by Prime Video's Oceania region vice president, Gaurav Gandhi, while speaking to viewers of the company's Prime Video Presents International Origins online showcase, as held on February 12th or last Thursday, I believe. Per Deadline's Jesse Whitlock, the VP began by declaring anime as a medium that is truly experiencing explosive growth, quote unquote, before going on to boast, quote, given that we are the home for the best anime in Japan, we want to become the preferred destination for anime content globally too, unquote. Wow, he sounds real sure of himself, doesn't he? Sounds real sure of himself, doesn't he? To achieve this goal, said Gandhi, Amazon would be making a concentrated effort to build on their current but relatively tiny library of anime distribution exclusives. Its notable offerings currently including City, the Animation, Mobile Suit Gundam, G-Quux, and new penny and stocking with Gardabil on the backs of 3 upcoming productions. First, he highlighted the TMS Entertainment's Fist of the North Star, Hokuto no Ken reboot, as greenlit to honor the original anime's 40th anniversary, of which he beamed. Quote, few properties can match the series' cultural impact. There's Ken right there. Next, alongside a brief preview, Gandhi raised Science Saru's soon-to-premiere adaptation of what he considered the most influential Japanese sci-fi work of all time, The Ghost in the Shell, which will the anime studio will helm in collaboration with a production committee consisting of Bandai Namco, Filmworks, Kodansha, and Production IG. And finally, the Amazon exec put forth the second season of From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, which the company believes only stands to grow its audience after its first season, as detailed by Whitlock, quote, ranked among Prime Video's top 10 titles in 45 countries, unquote. Quote, when we look at, in brackets here, the countries in the Asia Pacific area, there's an extraordinary opportunity to take exceptional local content from multiple entertainment ecosystems across the region and bring it to the world, unquote. Gandhi ultimately told the crowd, quote, there's tremendous appetite for content from this region outside its home countries. Whether it's Japanese anime, Korean dramas, or Indian films and series. Quote, in fact, these are now amongst the most watched shows and movies outside their countries of origin on Prime Video. Opportunity is immense, and as a global service, we're uniquely positioned to champion Asian content on the world stage. Machu here resigns herself to the life of a wanted criminal in Mobile Suit Guaks Studio Kara. While most of Gandhi's presentation was the usual sterile corporate hype, of particular note is his choice of anime content, quote unquote, rather than just anime, quote unquote, seemingly hinting at a wide range of Japanese otaku content than just animation. One wonders if Amazon may be looking to get in on the live-action anime game, either by licensing relevant series and films or for distribution, or producing their own adaptations, or possibly even revive their tokusatsu efforts. Having previously worked with Toei to produce a duology of, in smaller quotes, mature Kamen Rider reimagings, their efforts resulting in Kamen Rider Amazons and Kamen Rider Black before eventually petering out. That Amazon would produce another such take on the franchise, or even one of Toei's Metal Heroes entries, is admittedly a long shot, but not entirely out of the question. As for what we do know, the aforementioned The Ghost in the Shell and From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman Season 2 are both set to premiere on Prime Video sometime in July 2026, while the Fist of the North Fist of the North reboot is scheduled to release sometime later in that year. All right, so let me see what time it is right now, or where we're at. 27 minutes. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to move on to the pro wrestling wrap up, because we are coming up on half hour mark, and I was hoping to do about 51 minutes today to kind of balance out the overage we went last night. So now let me, as I said, we're gonna take a look back. We're gonna take a look back at over the weekend's stuff. From the No Surrender pay per view to SmackDown to and AEW's Grand Slam Australia. So, anyways, let me get that up here. So first up, we are going to look at last Friday's SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown, which of course took place from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, with Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore on commentary as it aired on Sci-Fi. The opening match of the evening saw the team of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, retaining the WWE Women's Tag Team titles over the Irresistible Forces. The team, they retained the title in a double countout, as both teams ended up brawling on the outside. The Irresistible Forces, as they are now known, are Nia Jax and Lash Legend. This is, of course, following a confrontation they had with Tiffany Stratton, who was making her SmackDown return since injury. Then, in a 10-man tag match, you had the MFTs of course, JC Mateo, Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Tala Tonga, defeating the 5 SmackDown superstars of Matt Cardona, Apollo Crews, Ilya Dragunov, United States Champion Carmelo Hayes, and Shinsuke Nakamura. After the match, of course, we see the Wyatt Six, watching them from a balcony. Again, people are wondering when this feud is going to finally end. Some people have been critical of how the Wyatt Six is currently being booked. So, anyways, the next match saw in an Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match that saw Alexa Bliss taking on Women's United States Champion Julia and Zelina, in which, of course, Julia's United States title was not on the line. Charlotte Flair was in the corner of Alexa Bliss. Julia was seconded by Kiara James, as it saw Alexa Bliss hitting the Sister Abigail on Zelina to get I believe it was on Zelina to get the pinfall there. Trick Williams built more momentum as he, preparing for the Elimination Chamber as he defeated Ray Fenix in just under 12 minutes. In her first title match, in her first title defense since winning it back at Saturday Night's Main Event back in November, Jade Cargill defeated Jordan Grace in 10.5 minutes, hitting her with the Jaded maneuver, that chicken wing face buster. Of course, it was partly in honor of Jade Cargill holding the title for 100 days. And in the main event, another in the men's Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match, Cody Rhodes defeated Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn, getting the pin on Zayn with Drew McIntyre trying to interfere at times and not happening. So Cody Rhodes and Alexa Bliss both advanced to the Elimination Chamber coming up a week from this Saturday. So that happened on of course that happened on Friday, but also on Friday, TNA held its No Surrender pay-per-view. We'll take a look at that, see how things went there. Oh, I see. So first on the countdown to No Surrender, of course, being on the countdown was on YouTube. Countdown to No Surrender took place at the Pinnacle from Nashville, Tennessee, with Tom Hannafan and Matthew Ringwald on commentary. The team of Sinner and Saint, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams, defeated the team of Brad Attitude and TW3. Also saw in a match that originally was supposed to be Ryan Nemeth taking on Alan Angels. Frankie Kazarian stepped in to take the match and defeated Alan Angels in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. As Frankie had interrupted him with his King's Speech segment, talk show. Then, getting on to the main show, as some things happened on the main show for No Surrender. On the main show, of course, also happening from the Pinnacle in Nashville, Tennessee, airing on TNA Plus, with, of course, Tom Hannafan and Matthew Ringwald all commentary, with AJ Francis coming out to be on commentary, noting that he was not scheduled for the show. The pay-per-view opened up with the TNA Knockouts World Title #1 Contendership Battle Royal, in which Jody Threat won the Battle Royal, outlasting Lena Black, Harley Hudson, Jada Stone, Mara Sade, Mila Moore, Mila Grace, Rosemary, Tasha Steele, Tessa Blanchard, and Victoria Crawford. In a match for the international title, Trey Miguel defeated Channing Lorenzo to become the new international champion. as Trey Miguel was seconded to the ring by Teddy Swims, who I believe, from what I've heard, some sources say, I guess, is another YouTuber or singer or whatever. Jenny Lorenzo, of course, seconded by Ariana Grace. Ariana not necessarily too happy because this kind of spoils her plan of them being champions in TNA, and with Miguel winning the international title. Then in a very interesting match, Mance Warner, with Steph Delander in his corner, defeated 76-year-old Mike Jackson in 5 minutes 20. That's right, folks. I said 76-year-old Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson has been wrestling on and off on the, he even did have some time as enhancement talent for both WWE and WCW back in his younger days. But at 76, Mike Jackson is still active on the independent scene, occasionally wrestling here and there. Post-match, Mance Warner had brought him in and was celebrate. They were celebrating Mike. They were really putting over Mike Jackson, in terms of just because of his longevity. This, of course, AJ Francis being on commentary was not too happy about this, and it looks like there may be a potential feud starting between Mance Warner and AJ Francis. It's also, from some sources, saying this possibly could be a face turn for Mance Warner and Steph Delander. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, Mike Jackson has been wrestling since back in the 70s, and he was formerly in WWE and WCW as enhancement talent. So I actually saw him, about 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years ago, wrestling for NWA. He went in and wrestled a couple matches for NWA as well. So that's just a pretty interesting thing right there. Then the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles were on the line as the champions, the Elegance brand of Heather and M by Elegance, with Ash by Elegance, Mr. Elegance, and the personal concierge in their corner, retained over the kind of mix, kind of the pop, this team, the team of Isaiah Brookside and Indy Hartwell. You also saw after the match, you saw Mickie James make an appearance to go after Ash by Elegance. As Ash right now is said to be due a TNA Knockouts World title shot, as she actually never technically lost the belt. She was forced to vacate it due to injury, and what at the time they believed was a career-ending injury. Then you saw Eric Young, BDE, in their match that just went under 11 minutes. Then in a match that saw a lot of people disappointed here, in the TNA Knockouts World title match, Ariana Grace defeated Lei Ying Lee utilizing the Cobra that she stole from her father. In a match that's kind of panned that, a lot of people, not only were a lot of people not really expecting it, but a lot of insiders just believed this shouldn't have happened. But a lot of people were called, and during the match, of course, Dani Luna made her return, as her visa issues had been cleared up. She made her return and was held back by security from going to the ring and interfering in the match. Dani Luna, of course, is also due a match, considering that she won a number one contenders match a month ago, and has yet to receive her shot. In the 8-man tag match, it pitted Order 4 against the Hardys and the Righteous. Order 4 won that match in 15 minutes 42 seconds. And the main event saw TNA World Champion Mike Santana and X Division Champion Leon Slater defeat Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth in a tag team match in 23 minutes 19 seconds. The big story of this match was you had three people who could lay claim to challenging Mike Santana for the TNA World Title. As Nick Nemeth, of course, was the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match winner back in May, or co-winner, in which he still holds the cup and still has a rightful claim to a shot at Santana. Eddie Edwards has the Feast or Fire briefcase with the TNA World Title contract in it, and looking to cash that in at some point. And Leon Slater, being the X Division champion, he has what they call Option C, which he could, if he so chose, to relinquish the X Division title, he could get a title shot at Mike Santana for the world title. So that was a big story surrounding that tag match. So now, with all that being said, okay, we also have to look at Saturday night's AEW Grand Slam from Australia. Grand Slam from Australia, from the Qudos Bank Arena in Sydney, New South Wales, with, of course, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Don Callis on commentary. In a match for the AEW Continental title, Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita battled to a 20-minute time limit draw. Then in the women's World Tag Team title match, the Babes of Wrath of Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale retained over Mega Bad of Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, which also saw the debut after the match of Lena Cross, who was reported has signed with AEW. She helped attack the Babes of Wrath after the match. In the number one contenders match to see who would next face the winner of the world title match later in the night at Revolution, Hangman Adam Page defeated Andrade El Idolo. Then in a tornado mixed tag team match in which the loser of the fall would get their head shaved, Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm defeated the Death Riders duo of Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta. As Wheeler Yuta tried to get out of it, Jon Moxley came out and said, "Take your medicine, young man." Tony Storm actually got the pinfall on Wheeler Yuta, and they shaved his head. And notably, he'd come back with a beanie the following night to wrestle at House Rules. Some more news coming out of that as well. In a ladder match for the TNT title, in their 7th match between the two, Kyle Fletcher retained the TNT title over Mark Briscoe this time, gaining the 4-3 advantage in their series of matches. And then in the main event, MJF retained the AEW World Title over Brody King, in which Hangman Adam Page came out on the ramp and to kind of confront MJF on it. Some other AEW news as well, as House Rules happened the following day on Sunday. It was announced at House, making an appearance at House Rules was the team known throughout most places, the Inspiration. WWE fans would know them as the Iconics. They came out and they announced that they had signed with it signed with AEW. So the Inspiration are now a part of AEW. So now, with that being said, now let's take a look at what's going to be going down on tonight's Raw. On tonight's Raw, and then we will, of course, tonight's Raw, which will be on Netflix. It's Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary, coming from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. The opening match already signed for tonight. LA Knight will be teaming with the Usos to take on the Vision. Austin Theory, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul, with Paul Heyman in their corner. In an Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match, Gunther will be taking on Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio, and they'll also be taking on Javon Evans. Of course, Dominic's Intercontinental title will not be on the line. And the women's qualifying triple threat match for their Elimination Chamber got Natty taking on Asuka of the Kabuki Warriors, taking on Bayley. All right, so with that being said, now let's go ahead and move on to this day in each history. Today is, of course, Monday, February the 16th, 2026. So let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, 2006 and 1926. The first thing I would actually like to do is I'd actually like to wish a happy 100th birthday. 100th birthday. Now, this guy probably isn't quite as well known to most of us fans, but partly because of the fact he got to 100 is part of the reason why I'm even profiling him. But happy 100th birthday to British actor David Frankham. Most fans, particularly older fans, would probably remember him as the voice of Sergeant Tibbs in the 1961 Walt Disney animated classic 101 Dalmatians. So happy 100th birthday to British actor David Frankham, who voiced Sergeant Tibbs in the 1961 Walt Disney animation film 101 Dalmatians. Now, moving on to the year 2006, as soon as I, of course, close this out here. Now, as we talk about one person who came into this world, now we talk about somebody who left this world. On this day in the year 2006, Mike Durham, known to most wrestling fans as Johnny Grunge, one half of the four-time ECW World Tag Team Champions Public Enemy, as well as being former WCW World Tag Team Champions, as I believe, passed away on this day at the age of 39. His death came about due to complications from sleep apnea. So on this date, 20 years ago today, Johnny Grunge, real name Mike Durham, passed away at the age of 39 from sleep apnea. And finally, moving ahead to the year 2011, on this date in the year 2011, 15 years ago today, on this date in 2011, here. The fifth and final issue of Astonishing X-Men Xenogenesis went on sale on this date back in 2011. Sold for $3.99 with 32 pages. Xenogenesis Part 5, and written by Warren Ellis, with art by Kyle Andrews, lettering done by Joe Caramagna, and Frank Diamata doing the coloring. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here today. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow, of course. And this Sunday, I'll be joined by Sabrina from Devil Flyer Momentum. Originally, it was going to be Rex, but we've explained all that already. But I will be joined by Sabrina from Devil Flyer Momentum as we'll be going through comics that went on sale in August of 1940. This coming week we'll be, of course, focusing in on our comics that went on sale from Archie. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow.